Hey, Coach Oz here. So part 3 of the IT band series on how to relieve discomfort, tension within your IT band. The first part was on helping to increase or enhance your glute activation and strength. Part 2 was on helping with your hip internal rotation mobility. Well, today I want to talk about an area, the hip flexors, and it comes from two methods. One, I'm going to show you how better to more effectively roll your hip flexors, and from the other aspect, what you probably should not be doing in terms of foam rolling. So we know self-myofascial release, which is a foam roll or something like a lacrosse ball, but probably what I see a lot of people doing is foam rolling directly their IT band. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it, right? So, you know, your IT band is tight. That's what you've been told, is that you've got IT band syndrome or issues. So, hey, roll out. I see other people rolling out their muscles when they're tight or sore, so why not? But basically, kind of from an anatomy 101, your IT band is unlike almost anything else in your body in that it's not a muscle, right? Like, yes, your TFL, your glutes kind of flow into this kind of connective tissue that is your IT band, but it's not a muscle, right? It doesn't contract. So basically, and pretty well when you think about how IT band related issues are I guess created and made worse, is either on irritation and inflammation, and basically rolling your IT band really kind of does both. It puts compression already on probably a compressive tissue, and it can certainly irritate even the nerves that run through it. It's like basically someone saying, you know, I've got a sciatica, so should I use a golf ball or a small ball or a hard surface foam roller right on my piriformis? Probably not, because you're probably going to irritate that sciatic nerve even more. So here is a more effective way on how, so you just basically stop foam rolling your IT band, plain and simple. So use a lacrosse ball, specifically much better. Hip foam rolling can kind of do the big muscle groups, the quads and the hamstrings, and yes, the glutes, obviously the upper back and other things. But for the hip flexor, I like using something like a lacrosse ball or a soft tennis ball or a golf ball or in it. So what you're going to do, I'm going to show you two little methods. One is clearly just as is. As you can see the ball there, I'm just going to put it anywhere around that hip flexor, and there's no set order. Left to right with your pelvis, up and back, figure eights, round and circles, but pause. If you feel that hot spot, literally park on it, breathe through it, go a little bit further. But again, you're only talking, you know, right through here, right? This is your hip flexor region. So you're not talking down the leg, you're not talking about up into your abdominals, right? It's that hip flexor region. That's fine. That's a kind of a traditional method of using a ball through your hip flexor. What I like is to try to actually mimic running. So lie on your side. So again, as you can see, the foam roller is right through that hip flexor there. And then from here, the other foot is kind of set up as a lever. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on my arms. And then I'm going to basically do a stride, bringing my leg up towards my chest and then extend it all the way behind my body, not just straight down. So up and then behind, while really putting my body weight into that ball. And then what you're doing then obviously is allowing the ball to get deep within the hip flexor, not only through a shortened contractions, shortened stage, but also during the length stage. So the ball can really get in through the deep pocket of the hip flexor. So to me, it's very practical because that's how you run, and that's where the hip flexors can sometimes be really irritated. And remember, hip flexor tightness, which a lot of people do have, will create added load down the chain, i.e. with respects to, say, your IT band potentially. So that's why I'm a big fan of trying to make sure that your hip flexors are mobile. But that's a little way where you're just trying to utilize like your stride length. So you're just literally sliding that foot up and down on the floor as high as you can and behind the body. And you do that probably about, you know, like typical, 30 seconds to 60 seconds, maybe taking more time on the side that you feel the more tension between your eye, if you've got IT band a little bit tighter than the other side. So give that a shot. Let me know how it goes. That's all.